Hi everybody, happy Wellness Wednesday. Master trainer and wellness enthusiast Kiona Leah back with you guys again. This week we are working on belly camp. And I figured that I would share some of the things that have sabotaged my belly camps in the past. You ever had this happen to you? You're doing great, you've got 1 or 2 days under your belt. Now day number 3 is always a throwaway when it comes to T-TAP method, because that's the day our lymph really takes a toll and puffs us up. You gotta get through day number 3. But day number 4, you should really start seeing results and on forward from there. But what happens if you get through the puff of day 3, you get to day 4, it comes down, and then all of a sudden, whoop, back up it goes. Sometimes it's not what you're doing and how you're moving, but other things could be a big contributing factor. Number 1 is, of course, lack of sleep. Especially when we're young, we can get away with a day or 2 of not getting any sleep. You're never going to notice. Once you start getting into over 35, over 40, over 50, and all those different things, that sleep becomes that much more imperative. You want to make sure that you don't skimp out on it if you have to, especially if you're getting under 5 hours of sleep. Just the thing that's probably the worst about something like that is you can do one night of just 4 or 5 hours sleep, and then it takes you 3 days to get that puff off your belly again. That's a big one. But here's a personal story for me that I learned just in June. So this is new for me, about a major saboteur that I had no idea was happening. A lot of us who are focused on losing inches, staying fit, and staying healthy are following these newer diet plans. Things like the paleo diet, which ironically is supposedly not that new, hence the reason why it's called paleo, about what the Paleolithic era type of diet was. Keto is another major and very popular diet that's going around right now. The major thing that these two things have in common with them is they're both very high in nuts. They're high protein, reasonable to high fat diets, no carbs or grain, things of that nature. They have their variations and they definitely are very different, but those are some of the main components of both these diets. Both these diets tend to include nuts as a major staple. Now, I've been paleo for a number of years and it's done me very well and I really enjoy it. However, in May or June, I had a bunch of macadamia nuts, such a delicious and wonderful treat in our paleo or keto diets that we're following. And after a couple days of having macadamia nuts every day, I started noticing I was getting swelling on my tongue. I would get red spots that were really sore and such like that. It was very unpleasant. I happened to be going to see my nutritionist. I always talk about her. And at the end of that, I went down and I said, you know, I think it's the macadamia nuts because I get this puffy tongue and it doesn't go away until the next day, but then it's gone and then I eat the nuts and it gets puffy again. So she did the testing and she said, yeah, you're allergic to macadamia nuts. Oh, but the cure, if we'll put it that way, was she said, you need to be off of all nuts for at least 2 weeks. Just eliminate them from your diet completely. Go back more towards what we call an autoimmune paleo type of eating system, which eliminates nuts, even though it's very useful in other parts of paleo. So I did. I went, well, I got to get the swelling out of my tongue. She said, once you do that, you can start introducing them again slowly. Start with your nut oils and then maybe some nut flours, move up to your nut butters and kind of graduate back to one of my favorite treats was chocolate covered almonds or chocolate coconut covered almonds. She said, work your way back up to that. Now, my man's birthday was coming up and my recipe for mostly paleo cupcakes includes almond and coconut flour. So I wanted to really be able to enjoy those cupcakes and not have to worry that I was going to trigger a reaction. So I just decided to stay off of nuts for the month of June. No big deal. About a week, maybe a week and a half in, all of a sudden, shoo, all these inches just flew off my waist. They were just gone. I didn't change anything else. I didn't try and restrict what I was eating. I wasn't eating less or fewer calories. I wasn't working out anymore, but all of a sudden, inches were gone off my waist. I was thrilled, and to be honest with you, I didn't care why. Do any of us really care why when we lose in our waist? Probably not. At least very few of us. So I was excited. And made the cupcakes, no big deal. We had leftover cupcakes from his birthday party, so had cupcakes several days in a row. And then all of a sudden, whoop, and it was time for me to go back to the nutritionist because it had been about 4 or 6 weeks. Went back, told her what happened, and she tested again. She goes, yeah, you really have a nut sensitivity. That leaning out through that center of the torso was all about eliminating an inflammatory food from my diet. And she said a lot of people really struggle a lot more than they think to digest nuts and seeds. They really are not meant for many of us to be a staple in our diet. Well, the way I looked at it is, it wasn't a big sacrifice. I managed to find other chocolate treats that I like just as much as my chocolate covered almonds. So, I went ahead and eliminated that. What hidden food sensitivities might be in your eating right now that are sabotaging your belly camp? That's the question you gotta find out. Highly recommend try it for a little bit, an autoimmune paleo diet. It does tend to eliminate just about anything you could possibly be allergic to, including eggs, nuts, seeds, dairy, soy, wheat, of course, any of your grains, as well as other things of that nature. Nightshades, that's another one that people frequently have problems with that they don't realize. All of those things are eliminated out of paleo. Of course, if you're one of the few that has sensitivities to certain types of meat for different reasons, it's going to be more of a challenge for you. But that might be a way for you to figure it out if you don't have an amazingly wonderful nutritionist like I do to work with, or work with your doctor. There's plenty of ways, but see if you can start finding hidden food sensitivities that might be sabotaging your belly camp or other trouble areas that you're looking for. All right, you guys, next week is Sugar Busters for Wellness Wednesday, and I have a new supplement that actually has some great benefits to our blood sugar that I'm going to share with you guys next week. By that point, I'll have had a good week and a half of using it under my belt, so I'll be able to give you a really good testimonial one way or the other about this. Stay tuned. In the meantime, I'm Kiona Leah. I want to see you guys move, live, and thrive, so I will see you on the next one.